Continues right now in the primaries. Dan Haar is joining us to talk more about today's big elections.
And he has been talking to voters all afternoon. Dan is joining us live from Wethersfield. As always, Dan, it's great for you to be with us.
To be here live in First Pitkin Community Center. This is not one, but two voting locations. So they are, as everyone is, struggling to get to that magical threshold of 20%. Nobody knows whether they're going to make it. It's been a trickle, but it's starting to pick up.
Yeah, primaries in general, they just don't get the number of voters out that a general election would. But what have voters been telling you today?
Well, the Republicans are a little bit frustrated with the way things are under President Biden, and that's going to reflect the vote in Connecticut. The Democrats are voting. It's a tough choice on a policy basis because both races feature 3 and 2 people who are more or less the same politically. It's a question of personality. So the Democrats have, in a way, a harder choice. The Republicans have that tough call between both the Secretary of the State and the U.S. Senate race. They have a tough call between large C conservatives and moderate conservatives, and that's where we're at.
Yeah,
and it's pretty closely divided. We're not going to party.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I was just going to ask you about that, actually. You talk about this. Obviously, Leora Levy got the endorsement of President Trump the other day. What do you think how is that going to factor into all this?
It's going to help her a little bit, and maybe a little bit more than a little bit in the primary. Should she win, it's going to hurt her significantly in a general election. I don't think that she's going to be very easy to set up to beat an $8 million in the bank 2-term incumbent Richard Blumenthal. Themis Claridis would have an easier time ideologically because she would get some of that middle. But again, either Republican that wins is going to emerge beaten and broke.
That is very, very true. You put it a good way. What did you think is the most interesting race that most people are following? Is it the U.S. Senate Republican race and who's going to face Dick Blumenthal in November?
Well, there's no question that both Republican races, the Secretary of the State between Dominic Rapini and Terry Wood, and the Senate race between the two that we mentioned, Leora Levy and Themis Claridis, those are the more interesting races because those feature people on opposite sides ideologically, and they really do strongly divide between the arch-conservative Trumpists and the moderate, old-style Connecticut Republicans, and that's where the divide is. On the Democratic side, the races are interesting only when you know their personalities.
Well, it is interesting as well. The first time in a long time we've had a real race for Secretary of the State, right? So it'll be more to come tonight where that's concerned.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's also the first time in a long time that it has mattered as much as it does, because since 2020, the world has changed, and voter access, both because of the Trump movement that is attacking voter access in some states, not necessarily Connecticut, and also because of what we saw with the pandemic, that office becomes all the more important. And I think that all 4 candidates do, all 4 candidates do take very seriously the job. There's nobody who's a joker in that bunch, whether they're Republicans or Democrats.
All right, Dan Haar, thank you very much for joining us now. I know we're going to see you later on tonight, so we appreciate your time. Just